Here we have a short tutorial on how I made recycled paper out of my wedding cards. Greeting cards are such a waste of money. They're beautiful, you write nice sentiments in them, and then you throw them away. Or in Portland, we try and recycle parts of them. But I wanted to find something better to do with my cards from my wedding this summer, so I turned them into recycled paper and then used that recycled paper to send thank you cards to my friends and family. I started by sorting my cards and envelopes into soft paper versus glossy paper. The glossy paper I had to use for other projects because only the soft paper works for this one. My husband and I then shredded up the good paper and put it in a tub outside. We let it soak for a few hours in water before moving on. While the paper was soaking, I made our homemade decal. I used a Dollar Tree picture frame that I took the inside out of, and I used some nylon screening from the hardware store, and I just wrapped it around and stapled it using a staple gun. Next up was shredding my paper and turning it into pulp. I put it one handful at a time in the blender and then filled to the top with water before blending it into this beautiful texture of pulp. I then poured the pulp into a bin in the backyard and filled it even more with water. It looks like this murky kind of, I don't even know. Then I take my decal, after spreading it around so all the paper pulp is at the top, and I slide it under nicely, and you'll see that the pulp just kind of sits on top. As I lift it, I'm letting a lot of the water drain out. That makes the next step so much easier. After a couple of tries, I figured out it was easier to use my decal upside down. So I have the frame facing down and the screen facing up, but then I allow it to sit on I have a milk crate, but you could use a table outside for a little while. Next, I grab a rag and I use it to gently press out some of the water. You'll see here that the rag I chose was not the best. I'm not sure if it was because it was dry or because it was the wrong material, but yeah, that paper stuck right to the rag and I pulled it up. So I went ahead and switched to a microfiber cloth. I'm pretty sure this one's just from Dollar Tree, but they seem to work a little bit better. Yep, there are 3 packs at the Dollar Tree, so if you need them, go get them, but you could use any rag. I think I've used a t-shirt before and it worked just fine. So same as before, I'm laying it down on top, putting some gentle pressure on to push out some of the extra moisture, and it's also helping those pulp fibers to squeeze together and become a little bit stuck. Between each push, I just wring it out to get rid of some of the extra moisture. This next step takes a little bit of practice, but I heard that the best thing you can think about is closing the screen door and opening the screen door. I'm trying to do it in one swift movement, and here is my best attempt for you. What I'm doing there before I flip it is just cutting in the edges, or I'm using a flat edge to move them to the middle, because I found that they were sticking when I would try and peel the paper off, and it was causing the paper to rip. So taking a ruler, a knife, a pen, really anything you have, and just pushing those edges in until you're off of the frame and just on the screen gives you a lot more of a clean flip. When you've gone all the way around the edges, you can put your blade down, and this is the close the screen door. I'm doing a little bit of patting with a rag here to take up any more moisture that I had missed. When you feel like it's a little bit more dry or you're not wringing so much out of the rag when you're done, then it's probably time to peel it back. As I'm peeling back, you'll see that I'm giving a little tap, tap, tap. I just lift up a little bit on the frame and tap it to loosen things up, and you're able to see right through the screen, so you can see when it's starting to stick to the towel on the ground. And that's a good sign that you're ready to peel in one swift motion the decal all the way up. I left my pages out for 3 days to dry, flipping in the middle. So at the end of the first day, I checked to see if they were dry enough to flip without ripping, and they were. I was then left with these beautiful sheets of paper with a raw edge. For my thank you cards, I went and cut off the raw edges. I cut them down to a 5x7 and put them in recycled envelopes. But you can do whatever makes you happy, because these are your cards. Some are going to be prettier than others, so I would make extra. This is my ugly sheet. I hope this video was helpful for anyone who is trying to make recycled paper out of their used cards. And maybe if you weren't already thinking about it, it'll give you another idea of something to do with your cards that is creating less waste and making a recycled product of your own. Thanks for watching.